Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to Dr. Shaban and fellow friends. We from Manchester City would like to present our result from case study regarding critical analysis of electricity market model European electricity transmission system operator. Before we start our presentation, I want to introduce all presenters for my group today one by one.
Hello, my name is Ralexis.
Hey, hello, my name is Edwin Jantan.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Nervi. Okay, mo.
My name is Daniel Stephen. Thank you and peace out.
Hi, I am Fahmi Naim.
I'm Sheleva Boni.
Our group will present on the European Electricity Transmission System Operator, or known as TSO. In Europe, electricity transmission system operator are responsible for the consistent transmission of power generation plant to regional or local electricity distribution operator, or known as DSO. TSO need to make sure that the grid remains steady at all times to protect consumer security of supply. This transmission system operates by connecting the generator to consumer with power and real-time flows on the network. Electricity market deregulation has become global trend in electricity supply sector in Europe over the past 10 years. The main objective of this deregulation is to reduce government role in this sector, and it can produce competition and increase participant on demand side. Competition is important as it can increase efficiency, reducing costs, and make the quality of electricity can be improved. The competitive electricity market has started from unbundling activities of distribution, transmission, production, and retail supply. From our report, we have compared the electricity market models from United Kingdom, which is England and Wales. The structure of electricity supply industry in UK, Central Electricity Generating Board, was established by Electricity Act 1957. It is responsible to produce majority of electricity generated at both of the country before privatization in 1990. According to John Franco Chico in his paper Electricity Market Evolution in Europe, the first stages to introduce competition from electricity sector in both of the country were firstly done in 1990. And from that year until 2001, the wholesale market in England and Wales was an electricity pool. It is a system where trading between generators and electricity suppliers, under which generator sells to and suppliers buy from. However, the electricity pool had several disadvantages, which only the supply side can participate in setting the price, but not on the demand side. Office of Electricity Regulation at UK took steps to replace the pool by new electricity trading arrangement in 2001. This new system had introduced the bilateral trading between demand and supply side participants. For the present situation in generation market in both countries, New entry and restructuring of new plant has made the market in both countries become more competitive than before. Before privatization in 1990, there are only 3 main generators, and nowadays there are about 40 generation companies operating in electricity market.
For the next one, before that, my name is Edwin Jantan. So I will present about the system development of European network of transmission system operators. Next is the key task for transmission of the system operators. TSO is to plan and establish a stable, reliable, and economic electricity transmission system. So the system development team of the ENTSO-E Secretariat has a following supporting role for one of the 4 ENTSO committees, which is namely as the System Development Committees SDC. So the SDC is chaired by the Dimitrios Chaniotis, which is in charge of the TSO cooperation in the creation of planning and network. So the key mission is to coordinate and development of the stable, environmentally sustainable and economic transmission system with a purpose to establish a robust European grid capable of the facilitating the creation of a well-functioning European electricity market. Next, midterm adequacy and seasonal outlook. So the system adequacy is the ability of the power system to fulfill demand at all time and thus to guarantee supply protection. There are 2 adequacy forecast reports that are published by the ENTSO-E, which are the first one is the ENTSO Midterm Adequacy Forecast (MAF) and second one is ENTSO-E Winter and Summer Outlook. For the first one, the ENTSO Midterm Adequacy Forecast (MAF), it is based on the state-of-the-art probabilistic analysis, which is carried out using the advanced technique for the market modeling. It offers the full support to the stakeholder to take competent decision, which is driven and influenced by the level of the adequacy in the European power system. The second one is the ENTSO-E and Summer Outlook, which is concentrate on the exploring the main risks found in the seasonal period, highlighting and expected possibilities for the neighboring countries to contribute in critical situation to the generation balance. The aim of the seasonal outlook is to provide a platform for the information exchange between TSO and market holders. Next is the asset implementation and management. The goal of the working group asset implementation and management is to establish and organize recommendation on the asset implementation and management. It is to support the deployment of the asset listed in the deployment plan and to encourage the new technologies for the existing grids. Furthermore, the asset management is characterized as the systematic and organized activities and practice, which is TSO optimally develops and manage its asset and the associated life cycle efficiency, risk, and expenses to meet the requirement.
Next, we are moving on to the specific details of the market model adopted by the country. In the European countries, the markets may vary in its geographical scope, timescale, and type of consumers. Besides that, markets also operate on various levels. For example, wholesale markets, which cater to customers, are structured differently than retail markets. Next, in a liberalized market, different entities are responsible for generating electricity as well as for operating the transmission system, as known as TSO, and also the distribution system, DSO. So now I'm going to explain what is retail market and wholesale market in the European countries. Basically, for the retail market in the European countries, suppliers are the backbone in which they offer electricity contracts approved by the competent regulator and consumers. Usually, the suppliers purchase power from generators and market it to consumers. Meanwhile, for the wholesale market, the participants in the wholesale market are generators, electricity suppliers, and large industrial consumers. As mentioned above, the electricity differs from most other commodities in that because it cannot be conveniently stored, it must be generated at the time it is required. Therefore, at some stage in the future, most power contracts require the supply of electricity. Also, in the wholesale markets, The transactions made may cover different periods of time depends on the type of contracts or markets. Here are the list of the contracts. First, the long-term contract could be up to 20 years or more. On the forward and future markets, week to years in advance. On the day-ahead market, could be the following day. On the intraday market, the delivery within a specified time period. And last one, on the balancing market, real-time balancing of supply and demand. Other than that, the details of these TSOEs, they also act as market designer. European TSOs have been key partners in the process of developing the internal electricity market, IEM. However, TSOs are not market players. Their acts are based on the non-discrimination and consistent good performance of their power structures by market players. They are a neutral organization. TSOs are also responsible for any changes in regulations. Lastly, every market model should be done on the basis of proposals by the TSOs.
As for the next scope, I, Daniel Stephen, will present the function provided by power system operator. First and foremost, let us define what is system operator. It manages the generation, transmission, and distribution resources of the electrical power system to efficiently supply customers with affordable electrical energy at usable voltage and frequency. And it carries out physical market transaction by managing the power system in short term and in continuous basis to match production and demand. European Network of Transmission System Operators for Electrical, ENTSO-E. It is an association representing European Transmission System Operators, which is TSO, and it was established under Regulation 714/2009, which define its role and mandate. The regulation can be accessed through the link provided. ENTSO-E mission. Its mission is to fulfill its legal mandate for the benefits of electricity customers and to leverage its mandate work product in order to shape future energy policy for the benefit of society at large in the face of challenges in the following area. Security of supply in order to maintain high level of security and promote the development of a European interconnected grid and investment in reliable, efficient and sustainable energy system. Proposing and implementing framework for market integration and transparency that facilitate competitive and integrated wholesale and retail continental market. Sustainability by facilitating the safe integration of renewable sources of generation and other changes in the energy mix. For the last part is the central objective of ENTSO-E. It is to facilitate the cooperation of TSOs in promoting the completion and well-functioning of the internal market for electricity and cross-border trade in Europe, and to ensure that the electricity and gas transmission networks are optimally managed, coordinated and technically developed. Thank you. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel Stephen. So now my turn to talk. Thus, this competition is perfect competition model, and how far or close the market model is from perfect competition model. According to Adam, there are no such perfect competition in this world, since the criteria are very possible to meet. Here, we will see what criteria that make this perfect competition is very hard to achieve. The first criteria, a company sell an identical product. In England and Wales, Powergen and National Power both sell an identical product which is generator, so they met the first criteria. The second criteria is company are price taker. In this case, these two company is price maker, not price taker, since it submit the price for each generating set and the price will be calculated by forecast level of demand at minimum cost. So they doesn't meet the second criteria. We will see the third criteria. The price will influenced by market share. Market share for this market not give big impact to the price since in 1990 to 1995 the market share is decreased more than 50%, but the price of electricity still maintained because customer paid for the fixed price. So the third criteria is met. In the fourth criteria, which is buyer must have verified and complete information. In electrical market, the buyer must verify before buy it because electricity is main obligation to survive. So they meet the fourth criteria. Lastly, last but not least, companies can enter and exit market freely. Since this company are duopolies the electric market in England and Wales, market does not controlled by government, so the company can enter and exit the market freely. So it met the last criteria. As a conclusion, the competition of market model in British or England or Wales is close to perfect since there are 4 or 5 criteria are met. Thank you.
Hello, I am Sheleva Boni and I will be presenting the critical analysis of given market model by other researcher, which is G. Starbeck in Electric Transmission Agreement in Great Britain, Time for Change. In the author's article, he stated that the current transmission arrangement and the future challenge, where the Great Britain electricity market is a bilateral market with non-location specific energy pricing. Currently, there are 3 district transmission arrangements, namely as onshore, offshore, and interconnection regime. On the onshore, owned by 3 companies, which is National Grid, Scottish Power Transmission Limited, and Scottish Hydro Electric Transmission Limited. On the offshore, they are operated by the Independent Offshore Transmission Owner, OFTO, and in the interconnection, largely governed by the European Commission Directive. He also stated the current regime weakness, in which is the Great Britain market design is inefficient, misaligned incentive framework for transmission investment and operation. There are a lack of coordination between regime and the conflict of interest. So this is our critical analysis of given market model by Manchester City. Critical analysis by Manchester City can be parted into several parts. For the first is a well brief about the European Electricity Transmission System Operator (TSO), where the structure of the electric system in England and Wales and its present situation, the system development of European network of transmission system operator, mid-term adequacy and its seasonal outlook, and implementation and management of the asset. For the second is a specific detail of the market model, which is electric market in European countries, the retail and wholesale market in European countries, and TSO as a market designer. For the third part is the function provided by power system operator, which is state the mission and their central objective. And last but not least, its closeness to the perfect competition, where we determine it by 5 criteria. For the conclusion, internal Europe electricity market are still under development, where still have a space for improvement. Unbundling creates more opportunities for market participants, and competitive markets bring a lot of benefit to consumer because increase in efficiency, reduce costs, and improve the electricity quality. That's all from us. Thank you.